All right, it's 7 o'clock. Tuesday, the 17th, January 2023. This is the time for our Tioga City Commission meeting. You can stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the United States.
All right. We'll start with commission meeting minutes for January 3rd, 2023.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second. Did you have something else, Jessica?
I'm sorry, I do. I realize that I'm kind of dominating the agenda here tonight a little bit. But I think something got missed on there. I have a policy update that needs to be added to the agenda, if that's okay.
For the old meeting minutes or for the current one?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were modifying.
Nope.
Looking at myself.
Yep, that's the next one. It's gonna be a long night, it's okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve. If there isn't any questions, comments, or concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
Yes, I'll approve this.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, now Jessica has a request for a modification.
Exactly what I just said. If I could add that policy update to, our list.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, I'll second. All right, if there isn't any questions, comments, or concerns from the board, we'll move to vote on that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves. Nobody else said anything else about the agenda, so I'm assuming that's okay. All right. We'll move into old business. Good evening, Liz.
Evening, guys. Can everybody hear me okay?
Can you guys hear on the side of the room okay? I think so. Perfect, go ahead.
Perfect, thank you. I'll be very brief. I know that we have a rather lengthy agenda this evening, so I'm not going to spend a great deal of time going over things that I anticipate we may talk about. I appreciate Jess adding that additional agenda item for consideration to the commission. That was on my checklist. I'm just looking here to see if there's anything else I need to bring up, guys. There are the couple of readings of the ordinance. I know we had tabled one, so we're on a second reading of another couple. I'll just be prepared to discuss that this evening. I don't have anything that would be ripe for other disclosure outside of what's on the agenda at this point. So that's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you. So old business, more engineering. I don't know if they have anything to report today. Okay, and I noticed that Josh is in here. All right, so we'll move into new city business. All right, number 3, city properties to be converted into parks on the south and north side of town. Good. Yes, please.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Tyler Judkins, park manager. I'm going to be the spokesperson for the park board tonight. We just had our park meeting just ended a few minutes ago. We've been talking about adding additional parks to the city. And the park board wants to inform that we're ready to go. We'll maintain it, we'll beautify it, just like we do the city parks that we have right now. We're looking forward to it. It's been me and Dan and the landowner that handed the landowner. We've been talking for many years now, so we're getting a little closer, which is good. We're under the same umbrella. So we're obviously this is going to incur some more cost. We did this year put in the new budget for the parks to get a little more revenue for that. did talk to you guys, about property taxes, and we can't really go that route. If we had land deed to the park district, could we gain more money for it? That's not the case. A big cost for us that we would like to use from one and put towards another is, since we're a sister entity of you guys, we spend an average of 16,000 a year on water. So we would like to see something, save a little on the water, put towards the manpower for the new park. We have all the equipment, stuff of that nature. We get along with the city road crew real well, so I think we can make this happen. Still keep the meters, stuff of this nature, but it would take a little burden off of us and put towards the new park. So that would be something we would like to discuss later in the future. We think it's great, especially the park on the south side of town. We do a great job down at the parks as it is right now, as far as beautification and making it look good all the time. So I think it would really help out with new homes and developments down on the south side. In the trailer park, on your way up to the brig. That's another little spot that we've been looking at, is beautifying that trailer park that's out there. So we're just here tonight to show that we're on board. So far, taking care of the community center ice skating rink's gone really well. It's getting a lot of use. That's the first thing we tried this year, is get a little more people coming to the community center. We're also looking to do some cross-country skiing this year. Williams County Parks is going to come and lay down a trail and see what it brings to the community here, and who's interested and who's not, before we take a little money and start putting towards that. Just start working together, and we'll be in touch if somebody wants to be a contact person for the city on the parks development. Obviously, it's not going to be this year, you know, it'll be a 2 years thing, but maybe this coming summer we can get some trees planted. We want to also, as a park district, send out a survey. Either have a meeting at the community center or the park shop, let the people of the city come in and see what they want to put into a new park, what they do want, what they don't want. So we do want to do that before we go too far into it. And I think you guys would agree with that too. Really, we just want to get the ball rolling and make some progress on some more parks in town.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, it'd be great to see that. We've been working on that for a while, so. You know, I'd love to help out the parks with, 16, 20,000, maybe more, but it's probably not. It's harder for the city to take that money out of our enterprise fund. That could come more out of our oil and gas rev. We can figure out a way to do that. I'd be more than willing to help, even more than that. But to take it out of our enterprise fund, that's, that's what kind of funds our employees. And that was kind of a specific, but we do have other money. And I'd love to help out any way we could.
We'll let you dig into it. See if you come up with
Tyler,
any little bit will help.
I need to ask the question, who's the only guard part? You guys don't pay water on that, do you? On the only part?
Already got a truck's got 2 meter kits in it, but in the last 2 years, we haven't installed a meter. So, but my first year, second year, 18, 19, stuff of that nature, we did have a meter there, and we did pay for that also. Just like Centennial Pioneer Park, we have a meter over there that we also pay for. Those are the only 2 parks that are really, if you look at it, it says the city, and then if you look at all the big parks, it says the Tioga Park District.
The commission definitely can look at that and do something, do what we do similarly, and I believe we don't charge you for the bodyguard part. I think bodyguard is not supposed to be charged, so I can look at that, tomorrow. And then let you know. But then the commission can do what they're doing there, not charging us for that. But there is other funds also.
You know, any little bit of help. We, you know, we just want to do, you know, do a little for you guys help back out, stuff of that nature, get on a good term. And then just go from there. We're ready to grow. Like I said, we have the equipment and it needs to do so. Plus the city equipment, stuff of that nature. There's no reason that we couldn't tackle it. Funding, you know, obviously we'll have to touch base with that. Park equipment, benches, stuff of that nature, the big money. I think you guys know that with the dog park and stuff of that nature. We don't levy a lot of money, in my opinion. I don't know my numbers right now, but if we did a park in 1 year, it would wipe us right out. Maintaining the pool and everything else is a big cost for us too, so. Obviously the Tioga funds there, we try to use that just for infrastructures. We'd like to put up a new bathhouse this year. That one's looking a little run down, so we'd like to beautify that area and get that campground done once the road's done going through it and stuff of that nature, so. Somehow, I guess we'll put our heads together and we'll figure out funding and stuff of that nature so that we quit talking about it and make it happen.
Right.
You know, it's probably the best way to do it, but this is the first start right now. I don't think we're missing anything. Probably about it.
I think so. It's just a slow start, you know, initial, just to show an improvement that it's happening and will be happening.
Just a couple of small little questions. I don't know if you'll be able to answer right now. You said this summer you guys are gonna start doing like grass or plant trees, whatever, right? How long before the park would be functional? Trying to get an idea of when you guys are gonna have these meetings and stuff.
So just kind of an overline on how it would work, for people that wouldn't know. We're in the very beginning stages of it, okay? We know the land is there, ready to go. We need to get with the engineer companies first. The city engineers get together, what we can and can't do, is it low land, high land, whatever it may be. Then we'll sit down and, for example, this summer or this last fall, Williams County came to the community center. They had a bunch of drawings and boards showing you what they're gonna do with all their parks. And then there would be a community input. I don't want to give an exact 2 years, 3 years kind
No,
of.
I understand that.
You'll see improvement this year.
Okay.
You might not see it if you don't look over and really look into it.
Right.
I'll put a 2 to 3 year, you know, use, everything's there. There's a bathroom facility, there's playground equipment to play on, there's whatever it may bring, walking paths or
Whatever the community input would be.
whatever. And then, really the biggest thing, is funding. But if it's something that the community wants, maybe they'll start jumping on board and donating some money or whatever it may be. You know, we're gonna try to do a little bit more of that as we get bigger as a park district. Try not to raise taxes, try to keep it the same, get a little more donation money coming in from different places. We never have an issue right now with money's getting spent in the wrong ways down there. We get really good compliments and stuff like that. So I don't think that would be an issue. It's just, we're gonna have to hire a few more people to maintain what we maintain now, plus. So there's a cost, so that may slow down progress of the park because we're paying hourly wages or whatever it may be, or benefits, or however that may go, once we cross that bridge. Everything's readily available. You know, I do a lot of communication with playground equipment, places and stuff, and, whenever you want it, we'll ship it. So that's not the issue. There's just a lot to it putting the park together.
Understood.
There really is. So if that answers your question there.
It does.
Couple of years.
Okay.
Yep. Slow improvements, stuff like that. get over there, start mowing it.
Right.
Beautify that area, get some homes in there. Get some revenue coming in and, I look forward to, and the park board looks forward to, you guys want to welcome anytime, come down to the park shop. We've got some prints from the very beginning, 4 or 5 years ago, on where the park should be. Of course, things have changed, maybe the land dimensions aren't the same right now, but it's been up there for a while. So we figured, and Dan's been a big influence on it, trying to play it both ways, getting trees for us, the tree ramps. Some of those trees this year went to the dam and stuff like that, but, so all that stuff is there. We put a lot of trees in at the park this year, so we'll be watering for the next few years pretty heavy, so we should see some great progress on trees and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And then, that's about it.
Any other questions?
The parks look beautiful in the winter time too, so
Thank you.
I'm excited to see some development. It'll be great.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like to get that ski thing going. I don't agree. And appreciate you helping out down at the hockey rink too. That's helped a lot.
Sure. Perfect. We'll keep up the good work, right? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 4, second reading of ordinance 2023-01, correction of clerical error in chapter 1 and 2. And reading ordinance 2023-03, update chapter 5, planning and zoning.
An ordinance making correction of clerical errors existing within chapter 1, the ordinance of the city of Tioga government organization. Be it ordained by the city commission of the city of Tioga, North Dakota as follows. The city of Tioga, having become aware of certain clerical errors existing within chapter 1 of the city of Tioga ordinances with inaccuracy states, a third commission meeting date each month. Article 2, governing body, Board of City Commissioners, 1.0201 regular meeting. The Tioga City Council shall meet regularly at the City Hall on the 1st and 3rd and 5th Monday. We're asking to delete the 5th of each month at the hour of 7 p.m. unless other time and place shall be specified fixed by the board. The board shall meet in addition thereto as often as required by section 47-09-11 of the North Dakota Central Code. Scope of correction, modification, amendment, except as expressly corrected, modified, and amended therein, the provisions of chapter 1 of the city of Tioga ordinances shall remain in full force and in effect.
All right, so this is just to reflect the way the meetings are currently for the 1st and 3rd Monday. You have a motion?
I'll second.
Okay. With a motion and a second to approve. Any questions, comments, concerns from the board? Move the vote.
Yes.
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 So moved.
Ordinance number 2023-03. An ordinance supplementing and amending chapter 5 zoning and land use planning of the city of Tioga ordinances and ordinance governing zoning, land use planning. Be it ordained by the city commission of the city of Tioga of North Dakota as follows. It's pretty lengthy, so if anybody wants a copy, they can get a copy at City Hall. I'll be reading enforcement. Enforcement is Article 13. 5.1400, enforcement. The administration and enforcement of this ordinance, chapter 5, is hereby vested in the city, in Tioga City Commission and the Planning and Zoning, the Building Inspector / Community Service Director and City Auditor. The duty of The Tioga City Commission or its appointed representative is to investigate the violations of this provision of this ordinance. Chapter 5, if the city commission finds a violation of this ordinance, they shall order in writing the correction of the violation. The city commission may institute appropriate action or proceedings for the purpose of prosecuting any violation, restraining, correcting, or abating such violation, preventing the occupancy of any building, structure, or land in violation of this ordinance, preventing any illegal act, conduct, business, or use in or about any building, structure, or land in violation of this ordinance. Penalties for violation. Violations of the provision of this ordinance, chapter 5, or failure to comply with any of its requirements, including violations on conditions and safeguards established in connection with grants or variances or conditional uses shall constitute a misdemeanor. Any person who violates this ordinance or fails to comply with any of its requirements shall, upon conviction thereof, be punished by a fine not exceeding $500 or by imprisonment not to exceed 30 days or by both such fine and imprisonment for each such offense. In addition, such pay costs and expenses involved in the case. Each day such violation continues shall be considered a separate offense. Nothing herein contained shall prevent the commission board from taking such other lawful actions as is necessary to prevent or remedy any violation.
All right. There a motion on the floor?
I'll move.
Second.
All right, with a motion to approve in a second. If there isn't any questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
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 So moves. And number 5, the first reading ordinance of 2023-02, updated chapter 8 for traffic.
Ordinance number 2023-02, an ordinance supplementing or amending chapter 8, traffic of the city of Tioga ordinances and ordinance governing emergency snow routes. Be it ordained by the city commission of the city of Tioga, North Dakota as follows. I just need to ask, Liz, this is a pretty lengthy one too. Do I just read the penalties for this?
Yeah, I think Abby, we can, and that's a good question because this is somewhat new. I think we can just articulate the general purpose. It is lengthy. I think the ordinance was created in part because of issues with we already have a truck route. The ordinance supplements issues that we've encountered repeatedly with regard to snow removal because vehicles are left unattended and there's no clear way to move them for that purpose. And obviously that's both a safety issue and a public welfare issue. So, you know, there are a number of provisions of the ordinance, Abby, but yeah, I think it would be appropriate just to read the title of the ordinance, knowing that that's its purpose and it's available for public consumption. If someone would like a copy, given that it's the first reading, especially, I think that would be fair. And then the penalty section at 8.0307, which is on page 3 of the ordinance. And I'm going to scroll down. I think there might be one more penalty section, but that as long as we read those, I think that would be all right. Nope, that's the only penalty section. So if we just read that section, I think that would cover you for this purpose.
And I do want to say for purposes, because it was tabled last time, that Josh has since he looked into it. He actually made a lot of changes using North Dakota Sanitary Code and what the penalties and violation will be here in Tioga. So coming together with all that, he did make some changes and added those on there. Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
So this is chapter 8, traffic, on traffic, the penalty for that on 8.0307, violations, traffic / parking citation complaint. Whenever a motor vehicle is found stopped or parked contrary to the provisions of this section, The owner of such vehicle may be issued a traffic summons or parking citation, charging them with a violation of this section. Any person violating this subject or this section is subject to a fine of $150 per violation. In section 8.0401.9, under violations, traffic citations / complaints, whenever any motor vehicle is found stopped or parked contrary to the provisions of this section, after 8 of the declaration of snow emergency, the owner of such vehicle may be charged with a violation of this section. Any person violating this section is subject to a fine of $50 per each day of violation, and the vehicle may be subject to impound, administrative, and other incurred fees. There's also maps in there to show the truck route and the snow route.
Since that's the first reading, there's nothing else we need to do with that at this time. All right, is there a motion on the floor to accept the first reading?
Also move.
Second. All right, with the motion to approve the first reading and a second, if there isn't any questions, comments, for the term on the board, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
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 So moved. All right, so the next portions are gonna be 6, 7, and 8, all related to the police department, and we'll lump it all together. It's all part of that? Okay, so then the policy update will also be a part of this with Chief Nelson.
Good evening, Chief Nelson, Tioga PD. So I'll kind of go in order here, starting with the garage door at the police department. When the police department was originally constructed, engineers or whoever designed the garage door didn't feel it was necessary to install cross members to each garage door panel. When temperatures fluctuate greatly between outside and inside temperatures of the garage, which typically in the wintertime we're heated to about 70 degrees, thermal bowing occurs in those garage door panels. And what thermal bowing is thermal bowing will bow towards where the warmest temperature is. And how that's problematic for us is when we go to open that garage door, it's the second to last panel. It won't line up properly when cresting the top curve, and it will cause that garage door, those two garage door panels to slam together. And in instances now, we're having it to where these misalignments are causing several hinges within a number of garage door panels that actually pull screws out of that panel, potentially rendering it unsafe. So we have had overhead garage door out to make repairs. In one garage door, for example, we lost 4 hinges as a result of this. There were only 2 remaining hinges intact. That garage door was shut down until repairs were made. Temporary remedy to that was to add 1 additional hinge. So far, it seems to be working well. However, we were addressed with a more permanent solution to add cross member bracing to each panel to prevent this thermal bowing to continue to occur, which would then resolve the issue ideally completely, so we wouldn't have to worry about replacing garage doors in the near future. So they provided us a quote for that. The total for that quote installation, then making the trip out here from Minot, we're looking at $3,960. So I'm looking to get approval to be able to get that service.
Josh, I think we talked about that, didn't we?
We did, yeah. And I don't have an answer for you. I was not a part of the garage door planning preparation process of the original construction of the police department. However, it's my understanding that it was built as designed, and now we have a modification to that due to an unforeseen issue.
When you guys, when Cause I've seen it, so the hinges have actually come out of the garage door. They had to move the hinges over, didn't they? When they put them back in, they had to slide them over. It's
Some of them they did, yeah, slightly over.
pretty wicked.
Can I ask a question about the estimate real quick, Josh, before the commission entertains any motions? And maybe I misheard you, but this is from the overhead door company of Minot. Aren't you asking for authorization for the 3,960 plus labor and mileage as estimated there? Not just 3,960 total, right?
Oh, yes, it would be for that plus labor and mileage.
Okay, I just wanted to check so we didn't have a goofy motion. That's all I had.
No, that's a fair catch. Thank you.
What Josh and I had talked about was these engineers should have figured this is North Dakota. And they should have taken that into consideration. I mean, if it's gotta be fixed, it's gotta be fixed, but I think that might be a little high. on the price. And the engineers and the company that put it in should bear some responsibility.
I don't know the answer to that. Is there any responsibility to that still?
It's been a couple years.
Right.
Wasn't these guys who put it in?
You know what? I don't know.
Well, was that an installation problem or I guess a problem with respect to its, manufacture? I don't know. How long ago were those put in?
Those would have been around the late 2019, early 2020 timeframe.
I can't swear to that, guys, but I'd be awfully surprised if there was any kind of warranty against something like thermal bowing in excess of a year or two. I would be quite surprised to hear that, but I couldn't tell you for sure without looking at the manufacturer's warranties.
But I've seen these guys work before, they do good work, so. They know what they're doing, and if somebody knows what they're doing, these doors can be dangerous if they're not installed right, so. I'd make a motion to that.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion to approve in a second, if there isn't any other questions, comments, or concerns for Josh regarding this, we'll move the vote.
Yes.
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 All right, Josh, the next one.
Okay, so the next one, one of the things that we're coming into contact with hiring some of our part-time officers is getting additional licensing to the evidence.com programming. Many of you weren't here 5 years ago, so I'll briefly explain it. We have body cameras that we wear, and we have dash cameras in our car. These cameras are all linked up to the same company, that's through Axon, the same company that makes Taser. In order for us to be able to view this electronic evidence that is recorded on our devices, we have to have a membership to this evidence.com. When bringing up that we need 2 additional licenses to our account, Axon informed me that our account was due for renewal for a new contract, I believe it was in April. These contracts go for 5 years. And so what we get out of these contracts, in essence, and I have a quote for it now, the quote is for $30,978.60. And so what we get out of this is we get 5-year subscription with the licenses that are needed. And then we also get 2 refreshes of equipment on the body camera side. So as we're paying, I believe this rounds up to about $6,200 a year is how this breaks down that the city would be paying. We get our licenses, and then there's 2 and 2.5 and 4.5 or 2.5 and 5, or however they have that outlined in here. They send us the new body camera hardware to implement in the field. So we always have stuff that's functioning, that's up to date. So we're looking to get approval for this $30,978.60 to be able to continue our contract with Axon. To keep us going on that front.
How many licenses will they give us?
That will give us, I believe it was 6 basic licenses and 3 pro licenses, and 3 pro licenses are necessary for being able to conduct redactions and all that other sorts of stuff for open records requests.
And then that also allows us to continue with evidence.com, correct?
It does, yeah, they go hand in hand.
So this is something, I believe you said it, that we were gonna have to approach in April anyway with the contract was. We're just doing it a couple months early.
That is correct, yes. And technically, we do have 1 refresh still available to us from the last contract that's soon to expire. We were credited that money to be able to do our refresh at the beginning of this contract. So at the beginning of this contract, we're gonna get all the body camera hardware. So they're about 2.5, 3 years old at this point.
Anybody else have questions? I know you're still reviewing that. You good?
I'll make a move to accept.
I'll second.
All right, with a motion to approve in a second, if there isn't any other questions, comments, or concerns on the board, we'll move to vote.
Yes,
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 So moved.
Okay, number 8. So my police department administrator has handed in her 2-week notice. She's going to return home to her home state to be with her family. So we're super excited for her on that front. However,
That's good.
yeah, not me. But I know it was a long-term goal of hers and we support her. So that does create an open position in our department for administrative assistant. This position is incredibly necessary for day-to-day functions within the police department during normal business hours, everything from processing citations, fingerprinting, assisting with approval of case reports. Crystal even assisted in managing property and evidence. We're looking to advertise and hire for this position as it is now becoming vacant.
Any questions for Josh or anything?
I'll move that we, okay, that.
I'll second.
All right, if there isn't any question, or I'm sorry, with the motion to approve the advertisement and the hiring.
Yeah.
Okay. If there isn't any other questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll move to vote.
yes,
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 All right, so moves.
Thank you.
And then a policy update.
Policy update, yep, so we're starting to get back into reviewing policies through Lexipol's master content that have not been issued yet. There's still a fair amount in work that needs to be done, however, things got busy for me briefly. So during the course of some of these policy modifications to tailor them to our agency's needs, one policy in particular, fitness for duty, came up. And I should also add a side note that as we're doing these policies, there's a lot of forms that I'm creating so that we're in compliance with these policies that we're issuing. A lot of changes that are being made within the department on the administrative side of things that help us better document, give us better documentation on really everything. But this fitness for duty policy is an incredibly important policy because this encompasses, in essence, the mental health of an officer that may suffer emotional distress from a call and ensuring that they're fit for duty. So when I was reviewing and tailoring this policy to our department, there was a form I had to create to be in compliance with that. And then to top that off, I needed to understand what necessary steps needed to be taken on my end. Should I need to order an officer to conduct a fitness for duty evaluation, whether that be a physical evaluation or psychological evaluation? The physical evaluation, I recently addressed, we're now using a company in Williston for occupational health and safety for that type of stuff. However, the psychological stuff, as we all know, resources are limited on that. So It's been brought to my attention, there's a company out of Bismarck, psychological provider out of Bismarck that will do fitness for duty evaluations for the department on an as-needed basis. This would not be an annual thing I'm asking for. This is just on an as-needed, should an officer be experiencing a mental health issue that we need to address. And in doing my research on that, I find out that there's going to be costs incurred with that are rather expensive. So what that in essence looks like was potentially anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 for simply one fitness for duty psychological evaluation. There's a breakdown of that in here. Let's see if I can find that. What that would look like is a review of the applicant's background information, which takes approximately 1 to 2 hours. The psychological assessment itself, which is approximately 2 hours in duration. 1 or more clinical interviews to be completed post-assessment, which is approximately 1 to 3 hours. And assessment, interpretation, and report writing, which is, I'm assuming, drafting up the finalized report that would be given to us as the Tioga Police Department, specifically me, that would outline whether or not our officer is fit for duty. Should outline and stress again that the cost of this that I outline is on average, it could go over that. So with all of this being said, what I'm looking for is, in essence, a retroactive approval now into the future to, on an as-needed basis, have those funds available where I can just, if this were to become an issue in the department, I can just go ahead and make sure that officer is taken care of and make sure that the officers we have working out on our streets are fit for duty there without having to come to the commission each time there is an issue, because at the same time, there may be a privacy concern with that as well.
I'm assuming since Lexipol has this as a template, there's other agencies that are utilizing the same program.
Yeah, so I know, for example, the sheriff's office utilizes Lexipol, Wilson Police Department utilizes Lexipol. How they've tailored it to their department's needs, I can't speak on that behalf. However, the importance of this is so incredibly important, because if you have an officer that's involved in, for example, an officer involved shooting, we want to make sure that upon that, say that it is a justifiable use of force incident, we want to ensure that that officer is emotionally prepared to return to work. And if that officer is not, anything that could occur after that fact could potentially be a liability issue for the city of Tioga and myself if I don't ensure those proper steps are taken.
All right, any questions for Josh regarding this?
I would just speak in support of the policy, Kevin, and make the commission aware that Josh has invested tremendous effort in trying to continually update the policies pertaining to Tioga. He's done a really good job. Lexipol is a really good program. And we considered any revisions that were necessary to the department. He's run it through legal. And as he said, officers have a great deal of responsibility, making sure that they're healthy mentally and emotionally, and making sure that they're in a position to exercise that good professional judgment all of the time should be a priority in every police force. So for what it's worth, I think the policy and the documents he's proposing to implement it are good. And frankly, I think they're necessary, especially in modern day policing.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make one.
Agree. All right, with a motion to approve in a second, if there isn't any other questions, comments, or concerns, we'll move to the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so moves.
And I think that is all I have.
I do believe so.
Thank you.
That's it.
Until the next policy round.
Yeah. Until I gotta find the next change in game plan I have to put in place. It's always best to have this stuff prepared and not need it than need it and not be prepared, in my opinion. So,
You're doing good, Josh. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, the next one will be resolution 2023-01, removal of staff from municipal bank account.
This is a result of the vacancy that we have, among some of the duties that Crystal did was the municipal clerk of the court. So, she does have, authority to sign and on the municipal, court bank account. So be it resolved by the city of commission, or the city commission of the city of Tioga, Williams County, North Dakota, a resolution to modify the signature card for the city of Tioga Municipal Court bank accounts. Whereas the city of Tioga, Williams County, North Dakota, is a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws so the state of the state of North Dakota. Whereas in order to facilitate the order processing of City of Tioga business, the city auditor has requested that Abby Salinas auditor, Chelsea Wise administrative assistant, and Jessica Sandberg police commissioner be listed as signers on the City of Tioga municipal court account, and that Crystal Sawyer be removed from said signature card effective January 25th, 2023. Now therefore, the city commission approves the removal of Crystal Sawyer from the City of Tioga municipal court bank accounts.
So Jessica, what is your name? When you sign something, you must have to sign it a couple different ways, huh?
I usually find Jessica Sandberg still.
Should that say Jessica Steele?
It's fine with where that.
All right,
I'm confused, you got two nameplates.
There you go. It's usually upside down.
You could wear a disguise somewhere.
all right, so is there any other regarding this? All right. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Second,
All right, with the motion to approve in a second, there isn't any other questions, comments, concerns from the board, we'll vote.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
So moved. All right. The audit for 2020.
Draft and admire their Meyer are our city auditors. They are seeking permission to do the audit for 2022. And they estimate the cost not to be more than 13,300.
So I have a question since I'm relatively new to the board. Is this same company done them in the past or is this something new?
It's the same company we've done in the past, and they'll also be doing, they'll be adding you guys, or the city commission, approved the addition of, the Tioga Airport to be added to our audit. So, they'll also be doing that audit. And that's what about.
All right, any other questions regarding this?
So that 13,000 includes the airport or just the city?
It includes the airport, but it also is, if we have any federal grants, which we don't, it can go up to 13,300. We don't have it. So, it'll be
Cool.
All right, there isn't any other questions, comments, concern. I'm sorry, is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
second,
All right, with a motion to approve in a second, if there is any other questions, comments, jump on the vote.
Yes.
Yes.
yes,
All right, so moves. And then the one there for the planning and zoning application. I see that the person regarding Matt is not in attendance. So I would like to ask that we table this until we can have him in attendance to have a conversation.
I'll move that we table
I'll second.
All right. With the motion to table and a second, if there isn't any other questions, comments, concerns regarding that, we'll vote.
Yes.
Yes.
it. Yes.
All right, so those. All right, next portion is going to be the consent approval for the consent agenda. We're going to start with payroll for March 22nd of 2022 and January 6th of 2023. And then also financials for December 2022. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
All right, with a motion to approve and a second, if there isn't any other questions, comments, concerns from the board regarding the consent approval, we'll vote.
Yes.
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 All right, that appears to be everything on the commission agenda tonight. Is there a motion on the floor to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, if there isn't any other questions, comments, concerns, we'll move to vote.
Yes.
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 Thank you, meeting adjourned.